Hello there and welcome to 31 Days of Halloween Down the Red Rabbit Hole. I'm author Nicola Blackwell. I write the Substack newsletter Lost in Folklore, where I explore folk stories, fairy tales, myths and monsters. Today on the Red Rabbit Hole, I can bring you something no mortal has ever heard before. Halloween's best kept secret, the transcript of Grandma Pumpkin's annual graduation speech. Don't ask me how I got this, I'll never tell. But as I'm amongst friends, I'm willing to share it with you here today. So if you're sitting comfortably, then I'll begin. The annual pumpkin graduation speech, delivered by Grandma Pumpkin. Good afternoon, Pumpkin Patch graduates, family and friends and Patch faculty. It's so lovely to see you on this beautiful autumn afternoon. I remember when I first stood where you stand now, filled with excitement and trepidation, bursting with enthusiasm to leave the patch, enter the big wide world and make my mark. And yes, the humans do have myriad opportunities for us at this time of year. As soon as September ticks around, they're on Team Pumpkin to what some might call an unhealthy degree. They place us on their front steps, they add us to their muffins, they pour us spiced into their lattes, they scent their houses with us in candle form, with a filling in their pies and for many, with a fancy dress outfit of choice for their dog. It's a veritable love bombing. And let's skate over the rest of the year when they ghost us like spooky season never happened. Sure, we're not as prolific, but have they never heard of canned or frozen pumpkin chunks? It's not you, it's me, they say. I only shop seasonal produce. Pah! I've seen where they shop and I call BS on that. The Dean comes over and whispers something in Grandma Pumpkin's ear. Apologies, I digress. Today, let us not focus on the fickle nature of humans. Let us focus on the now, on the next exciting chapter in your lives. What happens after your human chooses you and takes you home? What will you be after graduation? Oh, the possibilities. Some of you might be a soup. Some of you a curry, maybe a cake. If you're very unfortunate, a doorstop. But the chances are, it being October, most of you here today are destined to be Halloween jack-o'-lanterns. Okay, stop shrieking. I know you younger generation are obsessed with getting picked by a slow-living influencer and going viral on TikTok. But there's more to being a pumpkin than getting the likes, you know. You must remember your heritage. So today we come together to honour the reason for the jack-o'-lanterns tradition that makes the pumpkin community so in demand in October. And the name of the man we have to thank for the human's obsession with a dim light flickering in a bulbous orange sphere fixed with an eerie grin? No, not Trump. Who said that? And what have I told you about talking politics on the patch? Our originator is, of course, Stingy Jack. Jack, so tells the 18th century Irish legend, was a sly and miserly blacksmith who, it seems, could trick anyone. One day he invited the devil for a drink. When the time came to pay, he persuaded the devil to turn himself into a coin for Jack to use to buy the drinks. But once he did, Jack put the coin in his pocket next to a crucifix so the devil couldn't change back. Tricksy, hey? And that's not all. After Jack eventually freed the devil, he made him promise that he wouldn't bother Jack again for a year, and that if Jack died, the devil wouldn't claim his soul. When the devil eventually returned, this time Jack tricked him into climbing a tree to pick a piece of fruit. It seems the devil wasn't the sharpest point on the pitchfork, but that's another story. Anyway, while he was up there, Jack carved a sign of the cross into the bark, so the devil couldn't come down until he'd promised he wouldn't bother Jack for another 10 years. Eventually, as mortals do, Jack died. But legend had it that God wouldn't let him into heaven, and the devil, being understandably irked by Jack's tricks, refused to claim his soul or allow him into hell. So poor Jack was sent off into the dark night with only a burning coal to light his way. He put the coal into a carved-out turnip and roamed the earth, and people began to carve their own lanterns to ward off Jack's wandering spirit. And this evolved into the tradition we participate in today. Yes, I said turnip. It's a touchy subject in the turnip community, but back in Ireland, the lanterns were actually made from turnips or potatoes, and in the UK, even beetroots. It was only when the Irish travelled to the US, taking their tradition with them, that they began to use the pumpkins native to the region. And with us being so big and round and orange and, well, dare I say it, so attractive, we became a natural pick for the role, and using pumpkins caught on all over the world. Indeed, this is why turnips and pumpkins are sworn enemies. They've never forgiven us for stealing their fame. And that, my little hopefuls, is the legend of Stingy Jack, and is the reason there are so many of you gathered here today awaiting your audience. Now quickly, the humours are coming. Put your best face forward and get ready to be picked. And please, don't worry if you're not as photogenic as the next pumpkin. Remember the old Patch saying, the gnarliest pumpkin gets the human with the kindest heart. Grandmother Pumpkin exits the stage, stops and points to the assembled crowd. Excuse me, little turnip, I see you there. Nice try, Buster, but that orange paint is fooling no one. Better luck next year. So there you have it, an exclusive look into what really happens in the pumpkin patch. If you enjoy hearing about folklore and mythology, then do check out my Substack, Lost in Folklore, where there's plenty more spooky stuff for your entertainment. And do find me on Instagram, where I'll be talking more about my forthcoming novel, a thriller infused with dark folklore. And that's all we have time for today. I'd like to thank you for being with me here in this dark little hole, and remind you to follow the Red Rabbit on social media. Do subscribe, as it costs you nothing and makes a big difference to the podcast. It encourages your usual hosts, NV Peacock and Lisa Shepherd, to continue with their mad ramblings on here. You can find my links in the show notes, so do check those out. Happy Halloween.